This is Snowface Bigfoot, and welcome to my The Unauthorized Atari 2600 Throwback Zine quick review for issues 44 and 45. These are actually some of the last issues that were ever allowed to be produced because of the fact that Warner Brothers complained about a picture from 40 years ago of Superman in the magazine. Go figure. A rare photo that nobody cares about and nobody knows about. Oh well, let's get on to this. And today, we're going to talk about EPMD and LL Cool J's classic and a movie The Rock played in, Rampage. Or actually, oh man. No, this doesn't feature The Rock, does it? This isn't about the movie. This is actually about the video game. So here we go. Alright, so Rampage's backstory is one of the first few video games to allow you to play as the bad guy. So it's like the movie The Getaway that came out in the early 70s. It was one of the first movies ever where the bad guys got away. Yes, the bad guys got away. And in this one, if you go through a few hundred screens, you too can get away as the bad guy. Alright, here we go. So we're going to talk about Rampage in this issue. And this also is the first issue where the style and the format was revamped. So in this issue, we got Rampage, Spider Fighter, and a couple other games. Alright, and some words from the man himself. Alright, so here we go. Okay, and then we have the Throwback Zine trading card for Rampage. One of my favorite games from the late 80s. Alright, here we go. And then there's a nice little write-up on John Madden from him passing away last year. In fact, it was December 28th. I thought it was a little bit earlier than that, but I guess I'm wrong. Hey, dude lived to be 85 years old and has a series named after him. A video game series. Alright. So now we're going to talk about Rampage. Yes, you tear down buildings, you eat cops, you punch helicopters, and you eat people. Yes, that's what it's about. And somehow, I guess what is you drink some kind of magic formula and it transforms you into a beast. And when you die, you kind of cover up your fantasy parts because you left with no clothes on. And that's what this is about. And this is the arcade port that was done to the Atari 2600. Incredible. And this is what it actually kind of looked like in the arcade game. Really funny. Alright. And I never purchased this game for any console, really. I just played it in the arcade. And I believe it was by Activision. Look at this right here. Just not bad. I mean, pretty good graphics for the late 80s for the arcade system. Alright. And this is actually what it looks like on the Atari, the title screen. Which, for the time, pretty impressive. This is impressive for an Atari game. It's kind of like Ghost of Tsushima for the PS4. That's how beautiful the graphics were. And then this is kind of what it looks like right here. Now again, you got to remember, this is a blocky console made in 1977. And this is coming out 12 years later. So even though the graphics look terrible still, they're actually pretty good for the system. And it goes you through the three people. George, Lizzie, and Ralph. Alright. And it shows you how you go through the cities and everything. And in this one, there are 85 cities to destroy. I think the arcade game is about 200. 16K ROM cartridge. That's not even a few polygons on a modern console for a character. So that's how small, little memory they had to work with. And, it's a good article. It tells you about the game, how to play it, and a strategy, and some stories behind it. So this is a pretty good game right here. And one of the first of its kind. You play the bad guy or bad girl. You knock down buildings. You knock down helicopters, and you can eat police. All right, here we go. Inspiration. Starting this issue, there was a quote. There are those who constantly look for and focus on the obstacles, and there are those who constantly look for and focus on the path. Those are words to live by. Next up, Spider Fighter Challenge. Score 40,000 points. And it goes through the enemies, it goes through the strategies, it details the screen, and again, single screen game, like many games from the early 80s. Master Nest, Spy Pod, Green Widow, Stingers, those are the kind of enemies. Alright, and then it looks like a very similar to a game that was on the Magnavox, which was another console, or Stratovox, I'm sorry. No, that was actually a company, I'm sorry. Man, I feel bad right here. Alright, there we go. So that's what it looks like. And again, this kind of shows you everything on the screen, what it means, the type of enemies, and that kind of stuff. Alright, so here we go. And this is an ad from Spider Fighter. Yeah, that's kind of creepy. Anyway, actually, this kind of reminds me of Courage the Cowardly Dog. The artwork doesn't, but it just kind of reminds me of something. Alright, here we go. Circus Atari, more strategy. This was a pretty decent game that used the paddle controls. And you got to make sure you land on the edge here, otherwise you go splat. Another good game for the Atari 2600. And then it talks about scoring and the strategy. And finally up here, the Golf Tourney Champions. 4 under was the best score. Now if you cheat, you can get about 28 to 29. So, and what I mean by cheat is switch the difficulty switches, the A and B, where you can go through the blue part of the screen, which is the rough. You can go through the rough. And so I have that on other videos, and I actually have a quick play of it on my channel. So, all right. And coming up, the Phoenix Tourney 2022. Label variations. Again, Atari games had various labels on them. This tells you the type of games what each game variation was about, which is pretty cool. All right. And then here are the other covers right here. This is the one that I had. And if I remember, this is one of the later designs of it. I like this one's pretty neat. I'm not sure if this one came out later or something. I never seen that one, but that one's pretty cool. Now he talks about this being Jungle Hunt Moon Patrol. That's correct, because I still have those cartridges at home. All right. Next month's Laser Gates, game that I don't remember very well. Vanguard and Crackpot. Yes, sir. And again, the leaderboards are right here. Some impressive scores on here. So these 70 scores I would never get. Again, some of them are just, it's about once you get to a certain score, you can't go over it, so you just loop the score, what we call roll it over, so it goes back to 0. I mean, I want to see people's scores. I like to see if you can record it and put it up. All right, again, recent champs and the longest reigning champs. Looks like Mr. Gary here is just smoking everyone else. Look at Asteroids. I'm sorry, Asturds. That's not him though. That's Brian Justman. Look at this Gary. Missile Command. Pole Position. Ms. Pac-Man. Venture, Joust, Sky Jinx, and Burger Time. It's pretty impressive. All right. Now let's go to the last issue that I have. It might have stopped at 46, but for me, this is the last one that I purchased. And one of my favorite games on the Atari 2600, one of the best sports games. There's really good stuff in this issue. Just by looking at the cover. Names of the games. Alright, here we go. Again, table of contents. Laser Gates, a game I'm not too familiar with. Tennis, Crackpots, Real Sports Tennis, Vanguard, Phoenix. Lots of stuff in here. Astro Blast, which is a game that was ported over, I believe, from the Intellivision. All right, more words from the man himself. All right. And the Throwback Zine is Real Life Tennis. It's one of the first video games where you can actually put your name in there. And not just initials like track and field. You actually put your up to like 8 characters in there. All right. So here we go. Laser Gates, a game I'm very unfamiliar with. Again, here he provides you with the backstory on it, the artwork, and what the sprites look like in the game. I remember playing this, but I just never played it that much. All right, so here we go. Again, the scoring, how much energy you have, your shields, ND time, which is how long you have until the detonator explodes. And this is the only part I really remember is trying to get through the force fields. I'm not too familiar with this game, so it's very colorful though. So that's really it for this. There's not too much to it. Not much for the article. Anyway, the inspiration for tennis this month is legendary tennis player Martina Navratilova. Whoever said it's not whether you win or lose that counts, probably lost. Or maybe it was probably the person who just smoked you like a cigarette or a Newport, felt sorry for you, and just said, hey, maybe you learned something today by losing. You ever think of it that way? But I probably agree with this. All right, next up, Crackpots, which to my knowledge was a paddle game. All right, so here we go. It gives you the different strategies for this. Your only working weapon against the invading bugs is an unlimited supply of flower pots that you'll push down onto them effectively, wiping them out. Oh, wow. I can't remember if this was a joystick or what, or a paddle game. All right, and it shows you who Potsy is. No, this has nothing to do with 420. And then this is how you fail. All 6 of these are taken up. And what spiders do, they'll come up here and eat your flowers. That kind of sucks. All right, gives you the scoring and everything. Memorize the abilities of the different colored bugs. Very important in this game. Okay. All right. And finally, let's get to Real Sports Tennis. This is one of my favorite sports games on the Atari 2600. Can you imagine? The sports games were not very good, but Tennis by Activision and Real Sports Tennis are among the best on there. It's still really good to this day, although it's very basic. No career modes, no licensed entertainers, no licensed players, no licensed paraphernalia, accessories, any of that good stuff. Just good old-fashioned back and forth. And funny thing is, most games were based on Pong, and Pong was based on tennis. And in this one, this is a very good tennis game. It doesn't really look like it, but it actually, I think it shoots in like 32 directions. So for its time, this is a very advanced game. Very good game. I played lots of hours with this multiplayer. I usually won, but when you play against the computer and you play on the harder level, it's hard to beat it, especially when it's on the slow and fast. And then right here, that's pictures of baseball games. Home run for the Atari and television baseball, much better. Again, in television, just completely smoked and ran over the Atari 2600 when it came to graphics. And it talks about home run, Major League Baseball, and all the real sports games here. Baseball was fine, not great. Football was decent, but you couldn't run back on punt returns or interceptions. Real sports boxing, yeah. Volleyball, excellent. Okay, I wish there would have been a real sports golf or bowling. Bowling was actually pretty good, even though it was a basic game. All right, now we talk about Vanguard, the strategies to defeating it. Now, in this game, I'm very familiar with this game, and in fact, I used to play this in the arcade. The first time I saw this was at a little restaurant down in downtown Petersburg, Virginia. Yes, one of the most crime-infested cities in Virginia. And Judge Judy called it the darkest city she'd ever been in. No, that has nothing to do that the majority of the population is black. No, nothing racist like that. What it actually means is that there are street lights, not many of them, and that they're very dim. I used to pass through Petersburg when I used to drive back from St. Paul's College, and just drive through there. And it's places are run down, but it has some good spots too, and fantastic history, and an awesome college baseball team for the summer, a summer league for baseball. Anyway, what does that have to do with Vanguard? Because it's the first place I played Vanguard. Duh. Anyway, these are enemies, and on the first level, you can get the energy, you collect it, and you can just crash into things, but you can't fire. You can fire at enemies, but not when you have the basically when you're invincible. These are all the enemies right here. Now they're on different screens. Like I forget the name of the different screens, but it tells you. These are the different difficulties right here. And you can go fast or slow. But once you've cleared the first 6 level or the first level and you've gone through everything, you can continue. But once you get to the second playthrough and you go through it again, there are no continues. You just die. You can latch onto these in the later levels. It's one level right before the very end of the game. I'm sorry, not the end of the game, but the boss character. And you shoot them, you latch on them. You can do it 3 times. The 4th time, they'll blow you up. And these are the last ones that you shoot right here. It's a really awesome game. I wish I could just play this. I have it on all my Atari game playbacks. So I might just, on my throwbacks, I might just play that. And this is a very colorful game. Excellent conversion to the Atari 2600. There are very few games that actually translate like the original game, arcade game, because of the limited memory on there. This is the final boss. You just shoot him once. If you get shot, you just go back to the beginning no matter what. Very good game. I wish there were some more pictures here. Again, there's a Phoenix tourney. I don't know if he actually did that or not, but this was a very good game. Fun game. I wasn't as good in the arcade because you had to use buttons to move left or right. But on the home console, it was easier for me because you could use the joystick. All right, here we go. License variation, label variation, Space Invaders. This was an app killer. This was one of the greatest games of all time, hands down. Every other space shooting game was basically goes back to this. I actually had multiple copies of the game. I had this originally. I had this later on, which is like you would see on Jungle Hunt or Moon Patrol. I've seen this one plenty of times. So this is interesting. I love this. This is what I like about it. The features were in the magazine were getting a little, more interesting. Japanese art for the Atari 2800, which I've never seen before. Watch out for the cows. All right, collector's tip number 16, Atari don't care. All right, then it features next month's, which I don't think ever came out. So, all right, that's it. So, again, let's go to the high scores. Oh, the challenge is to beat the computer. Easy version, easy. Fast version, hard. Again, the leaderboards, high scores, some of them I would never get, some I could beat. Again, more here. And again, if you roll the game, you can roll the score. You just go with the highest score possible without going over. Recent champions. These are the newest ones. These can be found on the Patreon. And then the longest reigning champs. So that's pretty good. Anyway, it's a beautiful day here in the Northern Neck. It is June 12th. It's 6:40 in the afternoon, and this is a wonderful day outside. I got 4 more days of summer school. We'll be done. And this weekend, I'm going up to Pennsylvania, or actually to see my brother in Baltimore on Friday, and stay overnight and then go up to Pennsylvania on Saturday for his pinball tournament at someone's home. Isn't that awesome? And they're feeding us. Last time was barbecue, everything. Man, I left there, my heart was pounding for 24 hours almost. I had diarrhea almost because I ate so much. Oh my God, was it good. Anyway, I just want to see, listen to the birds. Look at the beauty here. Oh my God, just look at it. It's June. It's 76 degrees outside. No wind. Look at the beauty out here. It is so green. Kind of like North Dakota in the summertime. Super green, just without the trees. I mean, just look at this view here. I mean, aren't you jealous? But you know what? It doesn't beat being out in the prairie, though. Anyway, slap the subscribe button. Slap that like button. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.